The void of space was silent. Stars burned with cold indifference, their ancient light crossing endless gulfs of darkness. And yet, beneath that silence, something was stirring. A storm born not from empires or ancient powers, but from a single fragile species. Humans. By every galactic measure, they were insignificant. A young race bound to a single blue world, barely stepping into the stars. They had no vast fleets, no unmatched weapons, no ancient knowledge passed down through millennia. And yet, when the great powers of the galaxy turned their gaze upon them, when they sought prey in a new age of conquest, what they found was something else entirely, something unexpected, something dangerous. The one thing humans possessed that no archive, no calculation, no algorithm could predict: imagination. It was imagination that turned fear into resolve, imagination that transformed weakness into strategy, imagination that could make the impossible real. And it was this that unsettled the galaxy more than any weapon ever could. The Grand Council chamber floated in orbit above a dying star, a colossal structure of silver and light, filled with the gathered voices of 100 civilizations. Across its tiered seats sat reptilian scholars, insectoid strategists, crystalline diplomats whose very forms glowed with shifting light. They had come from worlds scattered across the spiral arms, yet all their attention was drawn to a single place, a single empty chair. The human seat. Even empty, it carried weight. Ever since humanity had entered the galactic stage, nothing had been the same. "It was our greatest mistake," hissed a reptilian envoy, his scaled hand slamming against the arm of his chair. "We underestimated them. We thought them primitive, predictable, contained. But they are none of those things." A ripple of laughter broke across the chamber. An insectoid diplomat clicked its mandibles, dismissing the words. "A species barely crawling beyond its home system. You would compare them to empires older than their sun? Absurd." But the laughter did not linger. Because beneath the mocking tones, every delegate knew the truth. Humans did not follow the patterns. They did not obey the equations. They were chaos. Suddenly, the great holoscreen at the center of the chamber flared to life. Streams of battle data filled the air, records of encounters where humans had turned certain defeat into impossible victory. Alien eyes narrowed, wings folded, crystalline forms pulsed uneasily. And in that silence the thought crept into every mind. If their imagination could turn even dreams into reality, what hope did anyone have of stopping them? This was only the beginning. The chamber's light dimmed as the council's speaker rose. A being of shimmering crystal, its voice carried like the ringing of 1,000 bells. "Delegates of the galactic community," it began. "The Dominion fleet is already en route, 50 warships, each equipped with psychic lances capable of breaking entire worlds. They demand the surrender of one human, Dr. Elena Vasquez. They claim that her species' abilities pose a threat to galactic stability. And now we must decide, shall we yield her to them, or resist?" The silence that followed was heavy, crushing. Then one by one voices began to rise. A serpentine diplomat unfurled his long coils, eyes gleaming yellow. "If we resist, the Dominion will not hesitate to strike. Billions could die. For what? To protect one fragile species?" A feathered ambassador shrieked in protest, wings flaring. "No, you do not understand. If the Dominion gains control of human mental abilities, they will enslave us all. They will craft illusions so strong that even the strongest telepaths among us will not escape. Reality itself will bend to their will." Murmurs spread across the chamber. Representatives shouted over one another, their voices colliding into chaos. Some demanded surrender, others argued for resistance. But through the uproar, one figure stood quietly at the center of it all, Dr. Elena Vasquez. Her presence seemed almost too small for the stage. Just a woman from a world barely known beyond its sun. No crown, no army, no ancient bloodline, only a quiet strength in her eyes. And yet, when she finally spoke, the chamber fell silent. "I have a proposal," she said, her voice calm but firm. Every gaze fixed on her. The glowing walls dimmed, as though even the light itself leaned in to listen. "The Dominion believes they can use human consciousness as a weapon," she continued. "They think they can twist imagination into chains. But they don't understand what they're trying to steal. Our imagination has never been a tool for domination. It has always been our defense, our hope, our strength." The council speaker shifted uneasily, crystal facets flashing. "Dr. Vasquez, you speak of defense, but the Dominion fleet carries enough psychic force to crush entire worlds. What could you possibly do to resist such power?" Elena paused, her lips curving into a faint, almost defiant smile. By doing what humans do best. By telling a story so vast, so powerful, that it becomes real enough to protect us all. The words hung in the air like a spark before fire. A furry, four-armed scholar leaned forward, his mane bristling with both fear and excitement. What do you mean, Doctor? A story cannot stop weapons. Elena turned toward him, her gaze unwavering. Not one story. Millions of them. Interwoven, shared, alive. I need to contact. Earth, I need every human in council space. Every colony, every station to join me. Together we will create something no empire can destroy. Gasps rippled across the chamber. Some delegates scoffed openly. Madness. Foolish superstition. Primitive theatrics. But others leaned forward, sensing the weight of something extraordinary. Elena's voice grew steadier, carrying across the chamber with a resonance that silenced even the most skeptical. We don't fight with fleets or with weapons. We fight with the one thing no enemy can predict, our imagination. And if we wield it together, the Dominion will find themselves facing not just humans, but every hero we have ever believed in. The council speaker trembled, crystalline tones echoing like a chime struck in fear. Dr. Vasquez? If you fail, you doom us all. Elena met the speaker's gaze. If I fail, we were doomed already. But if we succeed, we will change the galaxy forever. The chamber fell into silence once more, but it was not the silence of dismissal. It was the silence of decision, the kind that reshaped destinies. The broadcast to humanity. The council chamber erupted in confusion. Some delegates demanded Elena be silenced. Others urged the council to listen. But before order could be restored, the speaker's crystalline forearms shifted with resignation. Very well, it said. Dr. Vasquez, the communications array is yours. Do what you must, and may your gamble not destroy us all. Within the hour, engineers scrambled to assemble a massive transmission rig on Harmony's edge. The array was designed to reach not just Earth, but every colony, every human station scattered among the stars. As technicians adjusted controls, Elena stood at the center of the platform. Her reflection in the polished floor looked small, almost fragile. Yet when she raised her head, her eyes blazed with determination. The council chamber, the engineers, the alien dignitaries, all fell into a hush. The signal was live. Her voice carried across the void. Citizens of humanity, this is Dr. Elena Vasquez speaking from Harmony's Edge. Today, our species faces its greatest trial. Across the scattered worlds of mankind, people stopped what they were doing. On Earth, factory workers abandoned their machines. In orbit, station crews turned from their duties. On colony worlds under alien suns, families huddled around communication screens. Everywhere, humanity listened. Elena's voice was steady, deliberate. The Dominion fleet waits at our doorstep. 50 warships, each armed with weapons that can crush the mind itself. They demand our surrender. They demand me. But we all know what they truly want. They want the gift we carry, the power of our imagination. If they claim it, they will enslave not just us, but every species who has ever dreamed of freedom. She paused, letting the silence weigh heavy. Across the stars, humans leaned closer to their screens. I cannot fight them with fleets. I cannot match their telepaths in combat. But humanity has never won by strength alone. We win because we believe. We dream, we create. Her voice grew stronger, carrying a spark of defiance. So I ask you, every one of you, to do something that may sound impossible. I ask you to imagine with me. Whispers spread through human crowds. On colony plazas, on orbital decks, in the crowded streets of Earth, people stared in awe. Imagine, Elena said, her voice soft but resonant. A shield made not of steel, but of story. Picture our skies guarded by heroes greater than any army. Imagine the legends you grew up with, standing watch over our worlds. A boy on Earth whispered, Superman. A girl on Mars clutched her necklace and murmured, Wonder Woman. In an orbital academy, cadets closed their eyes and pictured the Enterprise sailing between the stars. Elena pressed forward, her words flowing like fire. Picture the Millennium Falcon streaking across our colonies. Imagine Gandalf and Dumbledore weaving spells of protection around our worlds. Think of the Justice League and the Avengers, side by side, united for one purpose, to defend humanity. All across human space, people began to close their eyes. To imagine, to believe. Telepathic aliens in the council chamber gasped, recoiling as though struck. The mental field, it's growing, one stammered. Their shared consciousness, it is impossible. But Elena was not finished. Don't imagine them alone, she said, her voice trembling with passion. Bring them together. Every hero you've ever loved, every story you've ever told, woven into one, united, unstoppable, eternal, a shield of imagination. And something began to stir. Across the human colonies, children added their favorite cartoon heroes. Elders recalled gods and legends from ancient myths. Soldiers thought of warriors who always stood against tyranny. Artists, dreamers, storytellers, all added their pieces. A tapestry of imagination began to weave itself into reality. Alien telepaths clutched their heads, overwhelmed by the sheer scale. They are building a construct, one whispered. A fictional reality. Vast enough to rival a fleet. Elena opened her arms wide, as if embracing the very stars. This is what it means to be human. Not to conquer, not to dominate, but to dream together, to stand together, and to turn belief itself into our greatest defense. The chamber shook as invisible pressure filled the air. Telepathic sensors screamed with readings beyond measure. On distant colony worlds, children pointed at the sky, eyes widening in awe. "Look!" they cried. "The ships. They're here!" And in orbit above Harmony's edge, something impossible began to appear. At first, it was only a shimmer, like heat rising from desert sand. But then, shapes began to form. The Enterprise, sleek, proud, its lights glimmering like beacons. The Millennium Falcon darting into view, engines roaring. A fleet of star destroyers, their triangular silhouettes blotting out starlight. The Battlestar Galactica, the Serenity, dozens more. One by one, vessels of fiction and legend filled the void above Harmony's edge, each born from the minds of millions. Gasps filled the council chamber. Alien telepaths stumbled backward, overwhelmed by the magnitude of the construct. "This is impossible," whispered a crystalline envoy. "These are stories." But out beyond the station, the Dominion fleet had come to a halt. The Dominion commander, a tall figure draped in shadowed armor, leaned forward. His voice rumbled across the comms, sharp and disdainful. "Fiction. Human entertainment. You think shadows can defy us? Our telepaths will tear your illusions apart." His fleet advanced, weapons glowing with psychic energy. Inside the council chamber, Elena closed her eyes. She whispered into the collective field, not as herself, but as the voice of the heroes humanity had conjured. "This is Captain James T. Kirk of the Starship Enterprise. We do not surrender to tyrants." Her words resonated across millions of minds, carried by the voices of every imagined hero. The Dominion unleashed their assault. Psychic lances of pure mental force lanced out, striking the fictional fleet. Ships exploded in blinding flashes. Star destroyers cracked apart. The Falcon spun into fire. The Dominion commander sneered. "See, they are nothing. Illusions burn as easily as dreams." But then, the smoke cleared. Every destroyed ship was back again, whole, restored, born anew from the imagination of humanity. The Enterprise once more sailed forward. The Falcon streaked into the fray. The fleet did not shrink, it grew. For every vessel destroyed, humans added 2 more. Minds pouring fuel into the shared narrative. The Dominion telepaths faltered. Their weapons struck endlessly, but their enemy would not die. On Harmony's edge, a feathered ambassador gasped. "They are feeding it. Every mind, every story, they are making it stronger." The Dominion tried a different tactic. Their telepaths turned inward, striking at Elena herself. A mental spear drove toward her consciousness, seeking to shatter her mind. But when it pierced her thoughts, it did not find Elena Vasquez alone. It found Yoda, calm, ancient, immovable. It found Harry Potter, courage burning in the dark. It found Captain Picard, reason sharp as a blade. It found Wonder Woman, her willpower unyielding. The Dominion telepaths reeled back in shock. Instead of crushing one fragile mind, they had stumbled into an army of voices, heroes uncountable, each defending her. Elena's voice thundered through the comms once more, layered with 1,000 others. "You cannot break us. We are every story ever told. We are every dream ever shared. And we fight together." The fictional fleet surged. Phaser beams, proton torpedoes, and arcane spells lit the void. The Dominion ships began to falter, their crews overwhelmed not by firepower, but by the creeping doubt worming into their minds. Because every time their telepaths touched the human construct, they absorbed pieces of it. A Dominion soldier, once loyal and ruthless, suddenly heard the echo of Frodo Baggins whispering about the burden of tyranny. A commander felt Captain America's shield rise in her mind, a symbol of defiance she could not dismiss. Even the Dominion leader himself trembled as he glimpsed visions of rebels and dreamers who had always toppled empires. "Commander," one officer stammered, voice breaking. It's inside us. They're stories. They're heroes. I can't push them out. The commander's cold voice faltered for the first time. No, hold the line. Crush them. They are only illusions. But his words were drowned out by the roar of 1,000 fictional engines, the clash of 1,000 imagined battles. And then, in the heart of the storm, Elena's voice cut through. You wanted our gift. You wanted our minds. Now face the truth. Humanity does not dream alone. Humanity dreams together. And our dreams are stronger than your reality. The Dominion fleet staggered, confusion spreading like wildfire. Finally, the commander slammed a fist against his console. Retreat! Pull back! This is not a battle we can win. The humans have weaponized chaos itself. One by one, Dominion ships veered away, fleeing into the black. The fictional fleet gave chase. But as the Dominion retreated, humanity's collective focus softened. The imagined armada began to fade. Not in defeat, but in triumph, dissolving into starlight. Silence fell across the void. Harmony's edge was safe. Silence. The fictional fleet had vanished into memory, but the echo of its presence lingered. Alien telepaths across the council chamber sat frozen, eyes wide, still trembling from what they had witnessed. Harmony's edge itself seemed to breathe again, its metallic walls humming softly after the storm. Elena stood in the center of it all, her chest rising and falling, her body drained but her spirit alive. She was no longer just Dr. Vasquez from Earth. She was the voice of billions, the storyteller of an entire species. The council speaker, forearms folded tightly, silver eyes still reflecting fear, finally broke the silence. Dr. Vasquez, what have you done? What power have you unleashed? Elena turned slowly, her voice calm but resolute. We did not unleash a weapon. We shared a story. And when humans share stories, they do not remain words on a page. They become real enough to change everything. Around her, representatives from 100 worlds exchanged uneasy looks. Some were fearful, others astonished, a few quietly awed. Dr. Kethvar, his fur bristling with emotion, stepped forward. You have proven something no species has ever dared. Shared imagination can create a collective reality strong enough to resist domination. You have changed the nature of consciousness itself. Zixthra, still weak but standing, gazed at Elena with black, endless eyes. In your mind I saw multitudes. I thought it would destroy me. But now I understand. It is your greatest strength. Humanity does not walk through the galaxy. Alone, you walk with every dream you have ever told. Elena's heart tightened. She thought of Earth, of children clutching books, of families watching movies, of myths whispered around campfires thousands of years ago. Humanity had never truly been alone. Their heroes had always walked beside them. The council chamber erupted into debate. Some species demanded that humanity be banned, too dangerous to be trusted. Others argued that such a gift must be nurtured, protected, understood. Through the noise, Elena raised her voice. You all fear what we might do. But ask yourselves, what do humans fear most? Not conquest, not domination. We fear forgetting who we are. That is why we tell stories. They remind us of courage when we are afraid, of kindness when we are cruel, of hope when all seems lost. Her words carried weight. The chamber grew quiet again. For thousands of years, humans have used stories to survive ourselves. Now, for the first time, we have used them to survive you. The council speaker inclined its head slowly, deliberately. Then humanity is not simply a new species to admit. Humanity is something new, entirely. And so the vote was taken. For the first time in its long history, the Galactic Council admitted a new member not simply as equals, but as something different. Guardians of narrative reality, dreamwalkers, story shapers. People whose gift was not weapons, not telepathy, but imagination made real. Weeks passed. The Dominion fleet did not return. Their defeat was whispered across the stars. An empire undone not by firepower, but by belief. Some mocked them. Others trembled. All remembered. And in the quiet corridors of Harmony's Edge, Elena Vasquez remained as humanity's first ambassador. She walked the station with Zixthra and Dr. Kethvar at her side. No longer a stranger, but a bridge between worlds. Children of alien races often followed her, curious. Tell us the story, they would ask. How did humans defeat the Dominion? And Elena would smile softly. We told them a story so powerful they had no choice but to believe it. And once they believed it, it became real enough to save us all. The aliens would listen wide-eyed, and slowly, a new tradition spread. Not just human children, but alien children too began sharing human tales. Knights and wizards, rebels and starships, heroes who stood when others could not. For the first time, the galaxy shared not just laws or trade or technology, but imagination. And in that, humanity had found its place. Not conquerors, not victims, not even equals, but storytellers. The age of telepathic domination was over. The age of narrative reality had begun. And at its center stood humanity, dreamers, believers, guardians of a new truth, that sometimes the greatest power in the universe is not the ability to control minds, but the ability to inspire them.